It's your boy Dean.
Tim.
Taran.
Another episode of the Dean's Office. Again, I want to thank everybody for listening. That like, subscribe, all that good thing, that support, that comment, that do everything that continue to push us forward as we continue to give you content. As you know, it is Black History Month. So we wanted to kind of celebrate that before we get into our topic. My good sir, go ahead and just give our fun fact of Black history before we move in, and then we're going to lock in.
Yeah, have an interesting one. First one's up. Carter G. Woodson. He's known as the father of Black history. Basically, he was the first one to set out in 1926 to designate a time for us to reflect on Black history and culture so that people can know exactly about Black history, which is interesting because that's happened in 1926 and so much Black history happened afterwards. So it's interesting that even at that time he understood the importance.
You want to add that it started as a week and then
yeah. So I mean, I didn't read that. Timmy told me that before we started shooting. But apparently it started as a week and it expanded into a month because obviously in 1926, it's only about a week's worth of history. But they had to build up more.
There's a lot more than they had to take what they could give it back then, but it's okay.
All right, so let's go. We're going to lock in. We got a good one like always. So let's go.
World, you're needed in the Dean's office.
Like I said, we had a good one. It's Black History Month. It's love. Valentine's Day is next week as well. We probably might drop this on Valentine's Day.
We probably will.
So rather than drop it day after, we're gonna drop it on Valentine's Day because we did. We wanted to kind of talk about love, marriage, and
especially in the Black community,
specifically with Black community. Do we value marriage the same? I know it's a big stigma of back in the 80s and 90s where the father was removed from the home. Numerous reasons everybody got the mainly is because of the drug epidemic, but they give you other reasons. I know I heard because the women wanted to be on welfare, so they just had babies, so forth. Whatever it was, I'm not going to debate why it happened or whatnot, but I just kind of want to. I think it was you was telling me that Lala was talking about how people are not so eager to get married like you was in the past. Back in the days, getting married, if you would have sex before marriage, you do anything before marriage, or they kind of tell you set yourself up for a mate. Marriage was big focus. Now you see a lot of women want to have kids without being married. You see a lot of people get divorced quickly and say they prefer to be by themselves, be single. So my question to y'all are, do you think marriage hold the same value? Why do you feel like? Because I know you was giving us some stats about the decline in Black marriages within the Black community, right? So just kind of tell me, why do you think so, or you think that's just a misperception that there is a lot of marriage is still forefront for the Black community?
It isn't. I read a stat that was on the Census Bureau. So obviously you have to take it to scale because obviously they didn't ask every single Black person in the United States, but they had a large enough sample size to make it pertinent.
To put out a statistic.
Yeah.
Okay. Put out the data rather.
So basically the Census Bureau was reporting that in the 70s, in 1970, around 20% of African American women were had babies out of wedlock, meaning they were unmarried when they had a baby. That number through 2021 skyrocketed to 75%.
From 29 to 75%.
From 25
25 to 75%.
And that's African American females.
correct.
Okay.
It got to be female.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying because I'm trying to see the differentiation between the other races.
Yeah, and to add on that, there obviously is the highest race among Hispanics, white people. The black community has the highest amount of babies being born out of wedlock. Currently, right? Right.
Okay, so my question to you is, what's the percentage of white women or Hispanic women?
I mean, I ain't looked that up. You got to give me a few minutes.
Yeah,
check that out.
So
that's what I want to know.
When I heard Lala on the radio on the Breakfast Club, shout out to the Breakfast Club. I listen to it every morning. Yeah, I do. Every morning.
Not on Freaky Fridays, right? Because they talk about some weird stuff on Fridays.
I listen to Breakfast Club every. By the time they listen to, I'm in my job already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, while I'm driving to work.
I only see it on YouTube.
Yeah, while I'm driving to work. So it was interesting for her to mention that because nowadays, we have a lot of shows that's out there. People trying to search for love, search for this, for whatever. And I'm surrounded by a lot of young people. Just recently, one of my coworkers / good friend got married last month, 2 months ago, whatever month we in. And I have another young lady who works for me, and her goal is to try to get married, right? But she's like, man, Tim, I want to get married. I'm waiting, whatever. So she was been with this dude for a while. So I'm like, okay. Then I had another young lady in my office who got married. So when she said that,
hold on, before you go, did you advise her that if after a certain period she just need to move on?
I told most of them that they should know where their relationship is going, and if you don't settle because you want that marriage in the end, you hoping that he's going to do it. That's what I advise all of them, right? When your turning point is, when it is to that part. So when she mentioned that on the Breakfast Club, I thought about it. I was like, is that really what's going on? Because now you don't see it being highlighted as much, right? You seeing when people break up. You're seeing when people are like, I'm single, I want to do this, I want to be by myself. So when it comes to the emphasis of the importance of marriage, I don't see it as much anymore, especially when it comes to the black community. Only time they talk about marriage in the black community is when something's going wrong in a marriage. Either they're trying to break up with each other, this person is cheating on that person, this person is stepping out. So what my mind is, I can see where she's coming from, but I honestly believe, right, that people are still trying to get to that level of being married. But then you still got those who say, like, what's the point of getting married, right? If we can continue doing the same thing, long live boyfriend, girlfriend type of thing.
And I also think what it is that we got to remember, marriage was an idea that was created so long ago. And as we evolve through time, we become a little bit more progressive. Women have become a little bit more progressive to where they're not people that's just in the kitchen cooking or like homemakers.
The role change.
They are more independent, right? So when you become independent, you become less dependent on needing a partner, right? And you have more qualifications as to what you think you need, right? You get what I'm saying? So I think that component of it is what's driving people not to want to get married.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Because if you're a woman, you're not just going to settle for anybody. You know what I'm saying? We always talking about before the podcast about relationships that we know that women weren't particularly happy, but they stayed in it because they was married, quote unquote. When you're a woman now, you got options. You know what I mean? Because you make your own money. You got different things going for yourself that you don't really need a man like that. Like it was one thing I was reading to where back again in the early in the mid 1900s, it's weird that we say it like that, right?
You know, it's crazy. This dude really want to get his stats today. Go ahead, let's go.
I'm just saying it's weird that we say the 1900s
because we were born in the 1900s.
I know,
go ahead.
It's weird. I remember going to school and saying the 1800s, and it's crazy. All right, whatever. But in the mid 1900s, the average woman would get married at the age of 20, and the average man would get married at the age of 23. And then now, today, that number's grown into averaging around 30 for women and like 30 and a half for men, whatever the case would be. So that just telling you that people now want to be a little bit more stable. Another thing that people talked about that might be a component is now there's a little bit more student debt, and people ain't trying to get married with student debt because now education is a lot more expensive than what it was before, and people got a lot more debt. So now you ain't gonna jump into a marriage. Like if I meet a girl and I like, I really love you, and then she tell me I went to Yale. Like, well, how much?
No, be like, be like this. Did you went to Yale on a scholarship, or you had to pay your way through there?
You know what
I
I mean?
get what you said.
What's that called?
Or if you went to HBCU, did you pay? Did you get a scholarship to HBCU?
Or if you went to Bethune-Cookman,
Yeah, you went to Bethune, and did you get a scholarship, or did you have to pay? Take out a loan.
The same thing with Howard University, because they expensive as well.
Expensive too?
Oh yeah.
So
in DC, they very expensive.
I think for me, I think it's a little. Again, I don't think it's one reason why marriage has declined. Like we often try to put it on pinpoint on one thing because everybody's circumstance is different and everybody's value is different. I think for marriage, and I think for me, I think back in those days when you was giving those stats. It was the model was the man ran the household, the woman took care of the household. So therefore, the goal of the woman was for her to find her a man that's stable enough to care for her, and she take care of the home, and that was her role. Now I think with the little bit more knowledge and understanding that women realize and understand that they don't need a man to depend on as far as being stable. Right, so that's one of those goals. Once they identify that, they say, okay, I'm gonna get my own money. I'm gonna be my own boss. People like to use the word boss. So now you have a conflict of the women mindset have changed, but they still want the same thing. So meaning they mindset is I want to be independent. I want to have money. I want to do the things myself, but I still want a man that's a traditional man, right? Meaning that he makes more than me, that he take care, he pays all the bills, he do all the things like that. But the man still wants the woman to be in the house, in the kitchen, therefore. So I think that's the conflict that's going on to where you have two people, or you have men and women wanting two different things, right? But still thinking the same as far as tradition, what marriage look like, right? What the role of marriage look like. I want this, but this is what they told me what marriage looked like. Now that you have a better understanding what marriage looked like, I feel like that's the problem. We got to identify what does marriage look like, because we was sold one thing on what marriage was like, and I think it can be multiple things just depending on the person.
So that brings me to a question that I just thought about just now, and we'll circle back to the percentage of wedlock mothers, because I got it for the white people now. But I don't want to distract us from the conversation we're on right now. What's important to you guys in marriage? So we talking female view, right? None of us up here are female. We got a female producer, but none of us up here are female.
And she hates marriage. So.
Yeah.
She doesn't hate marriage. She just don't see the benefits in being married. Yeah. And she's that younger generation. Just like to go back what Lala was saying, right? They don't see that it makes sense to get married.
Yeah.
So go ahead. So for you answer the question.
So
go answer the question. So what's the most important in the marriage for you?
You mean so answer the question? I'm posing a question to you.
You can answer it too. You can't answer it as well.
You've been married the longest, so you tell me.
You got to tell us, brother.
How?
And then
you don't know if you've been married the longest.
Hold on, wait.
Telling you have.
Hold on, wait. Let me put some seasoning.
Okay, put some seasoning on the question. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, so I saw a clip on YouTube, and I'm sorry I can't give this person their credit. I apologize. I don't know where I saw it from, but it was this young lady who was talking, and she basically said that men, there's a difference between the way that a rich man thinks and a poor man thinks. A rich man doesn't care what a woman brings to the table financially, as long as I'm assuming he fulfills whatever needs that he needs, because he's a rich man. I guess whether it's in the bedroom, cooking, homemaker, take care of the children,
looks,
whatever the case may be. Personality.
They get over it.
Those are personalities.
Yeah, and then a poor man thinks about, I got a lawyer, or I got a nurse, or I got a whatever, some woman who's a high earner type of thing.
Yeah, more stable.
This is like somebody who could help support, and then they call it a team, right? They're like, we're a team now, right? So my question to you guys is, What's more important to y'all? And I don't mean to call yourselves rich or broke because I understand.
Yeah, I know my status. I know my income bracket.
So I'm saying, like, what's the most important thing for you guys, in a marriage? Y'all think? Did y'all think about that? Like, dang.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I started dating, before I met Gina or whoever I was dating with, I never thought about the money aspect, or if that person was able to help me out, or this. Cause I always had the mind frame that I was gonna be able to want to take care of that responsibility. Now, if she come in and help out and take some of the stress off me, right, that would be great. But honestly, I always thought that if I get married or when that time come, I was gonna take the brunt of the financial burden part. Okay. So that wasn't really it for me. I think the biggest thing is for me, I was always scared of it. For me, liking the person for a long time. Love and liking for me is two different things, right? I can love you, but I don't like being around you. So if I enjoy being around and I like you, that has made the big difference on why Gina and I have lasted so long. Because of that, we sometimes I don't like you today, right? But I like her more every day because of that. Because I can enjoy being around. We've been together in total with marriage and everything almost 20 years. You understand what I'm saying? For me to actually still want to go home and don't want to stay to work and all this other stuff. Because I told a girl who got married, when you see me start staying late at work, you know something's wrong. I don't want to go home. Or I'm going to hang out somewhere. I'm finna go hang out with the guys.
Or record a podcast.
Well, no, the podcast is different.
Closer to midnight. We love y'all viewers. We do this for y'all.
So, but that's what I'm saying. So I figured that you have to enjoy or like being around a person. That's what really, like, one of the major things for me. Of course, the communication, talking as much as can. But when you like somebody, you're going to be talking on a regular basis of that aspect.
What about you, sir?
Unlike him, because I am broke, and I don't mean it in the broke as I don't have money. I do make.
You're middle class, okay?
Yeah, a good amount of money.
What's middle class?
Nah,
we're all middle class up here, Timmy. Don't.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah, we is.
It's okay to be like Jesus, but don't be too much like Jesus. Relax. You don't gotta be that humble. You middle class, bro.
Okay.
I need to see the definition. Go ahead.
You know when you middle class.
What's that?
When you go get your taxes, when it's time to file taxes, and you be like, "Damn, they took all this money from me,"
and they don't give me no money back.
Thank you.
I understand. Go ahead.
Middle class. Thank you. So, for me, I think stability is something I think something I did look for, and for me, because I know I was a little wild, a little different. You know what I'm saying? I think I needed somebody that would balance me, because I'll take a risk. I might not, want to, do the responsible thing. I might be like, forget it. But having someone that reminds me, or not willing to take the risk, or be like, nah, we got to do this, or we can't let that happen. We got to make sure we got to find a way. I think that's something, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, because you're right. A rich person and a broke person can't have the same conversation about what they want in a relationship, because being rich affords you to have different choices. That's why do you want to be rich? It's not rich because to get the money. The rich is to allow you to do the things you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because you can have money and still be broke, but being rich is able to have the freedom to do the things, pick who you want, say no to things that you want. I think for me, it's in a relationship is someone that's caring, that's loving, that kind of want to, what's the word? Kind of appreciate that they with me, like happy that they with me. Let them know that they with me. Someone that
know that you can beat them up, but you won't beat them up.
we gotta have a conversation with Kate, boy.
But I think that's just more for me than anything. Yes, I think stable not so much as money, but stable as they had a life together. I don't want to be having to always save you and rescue you. You see what I'm saying? It's hard enough for me to save and rescue myself. I don't want to get in a relationship where we trying to save each other. 1 minute you falling, I'm falling. I like for both of us to be stable, and we can focus on the relationship itself. And when you not stable, and it again, it's not about how much money you got. You see what I'm saying? I don't want you to think it's a number bracket, but it's like, damn, if I gotta, you like, man, this going on, I can't do this. Can you help me? Or if I'm like when you doing that, it takes away from what you want as a relationship. And I think that's something for me is being stable, making sure that I ain't going through no drama, making sure I ain't going through we not waking up every day trying to like pinky in the brain, what's the plan for the day, figure out how to survive. No, man, I want to get up, you know what I'm saying, and do my responsibilities, chill. You know, for us families, every time an event coming, we having something, we doing something. I want to be able to relax. I don't want to be stressing. I think that's for me is stability. You know, over the being fine and you know all that other stuff. But I think the main thing is just being stable. We not saving each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat with you. I guess you could classify me as a broke dude because the reason why it's important to understand a woman who's in a good place financially, because it also tells you the type of personality that they have. If they're good financially, that tend to mean that they're good with money most of the time. I'm not saying 100% of the time, but most of the time. I'll give you an example, a personal example for myself. I remember like in high school and like a little bit of beginning of college, I always thought whatever you got, you spent it. Like whatever money you got, you supposed to spend it. You know what I mean? Like,
why you thought that?
I don't know, because I just can't, like, I came from, if you got the money, try to get what you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think of saving for a rainy day or whatever the case is. It just wasn't my mentality. Like, if daddy was to give me $2 or $3 or whatever for the day, I didn't save $1. I spent everything, or $5. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a piggy bank. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I spent money. Like, even when I started working in the beginning of my college years, I would just spend the money, whatever the case would be. But one of the things that I appreciated Kate for is that she was the one that taught me to save. Because I remember one time we was having a conversation, we never talked about savings, and we was on the phone one day, and then she's like, you got to have a savings. Just tell Bank of America, to take whatever amount of money at your account. I'm like, yeah, I probably got like, I still remember, I probably got like $50, $75 in my savings account. And she's like, that's it? You know how much I got? And she told me, and I was like, well, God dog, what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And I was, at the time, she was working at CVS, I was working at Target, and I was making more than her, but I was spending more than her. And we was in the same type of living situation, both living with the parents, whatever, and didn't have no other obligations. It was just whatever. And I was like, dang, I got to tighten up. And from that moment, it taught me how to save. You know what I'm saying? That's like a life-changing event. And I don't think if I was with a girl who was not doing anything for herself and was expecting me to always pay and have all this whatever financial stability, I probably would never learned that lesson that early that I needed to save. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's benefits.
And I also too, when someone that's financially stable, you got to remember too, they more often than none, like now there's different avenues to make substantial amount of money. But back then, or when we was coming up, that stability of them having a career showed you that they was driven. Showed you that they the work ethic, they committed to something, so
they could be trusted because they ain't gonna just spend the money on the whim. So that means they'll be committed. That's how I think about things. Can you trust them?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're responsible, right? They're responsible to even if they think about it. Even if you go to a club, they'll get they're gonna get up and go to work because they got a career. You see what I'm saying? Or if we do this, we might get arrested. Then I lose my job. Like you understand that they're not gonna make the dumb decision because they have stuff to lose. When you deal with people that have things to lose, they're often than not that communication and the interaction is gonna be different because they're not gonna do the things to jeopardize to lose the things that they want. Just like how just like for you, once you got married and started having kids, you already know I can't do that because I don't want to jeopardize being able to take care of my responsibility and doing the things that I need to do. I think when you have someone that's stable, and again, it don't have to, the dollar amount can vary however you want to, but I just think it's more about the stability of the person. You get what I'm saying? And the first thing that sets stability is finance for me. I think, well, at least I think once you financially set, it kind of sets everything else.
All right. So, obviously the topic is black marriages, right? And one of the concerns is that people aren't getting married. I'm gonna throw another statistic at y'all. So don't So don't get upset about my statistics that's coming out. So basically, the percentage of black women and black men being married is that claim that they're unmarried is around 50%, like 52-53%.
Say that again.
So they claim they're unmarried.
Unmarried.
So
right.
52 or 50 something percent say they unmarried.
Unmarried.
That's men and women.
Yeah, men and I get married, and also the stat that I said earlier that men and women are getting married now in their 30s instead of the 20s from the 70s, opposed to now, right? And then we see the other alarming statistic going back to your question. Black America is the highest percentage of unwedded births. White America is, so for example, Black America, out of 10 people, out of 10 Black African women births, 7 of them will be unwed. Compared to whites, it would be 3 out of 10. Asian Americans, it'll be 1 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? So it's a large disparity. So I don't know if we can find the answer on this podcast, but maybe we can throw out some ideas and people probably can comment on it. Why do y'all think that so many people are willing to have babies outside of being married? Is it that people don't, I'm just saying, people don't believe in God or the Christianity religion anymore and think that that's the way that they need to go? Do we see less and less people in the church, in the black church, young folks in the black church? That's why you're probably seeing higher birth rates. Is it oppression? Because they said the rates are even higher than 75% in urban areas. Like if you go to, I'm gonna say Overtown. No, it's not Overtown anymore, but like a place like Overtown or Liberty City, like it'll be higher than 75%. Opelika, whatever the case may be. Like you see women, like, I don't know if it's sexual education. I don't know. It's something that's I don't want to say plaguing, because is it a bad thing? Is it a who cares if they're not married? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think it's one, what do you value marriage, right? So again, if you feel like, because again, what we was taught for marriage is for God, having a union. A lot of the things, having sex out of wedlock, that was frowned upon. That was more what marriage was more attached to God and financial stability than anything else. And I think once in those areas, you gotta think about it too. In those areas, you got a lot of dudes and stuff doing crime, so that might be a reason why it's higher in urban areas. Because I am dating you and I want to be with you, and then you get locked up.
So you think a large portion of that is mistakes? None of that is planned.
No.
I think some are playing because
I think a lot of dudes go in there and be like they want to shoot up the club.
No. I'm talking about even for them. I think some of the women plan that as well, right? Because in their mind is, I know there was a good dude, probably a good dude. I'm gonna have a child for the dude, right? And they end up, once you have the child, the dude leaves because, man, I ain't ready for that responsibility.
Think about the single mothers that you know, without naming names, obviously, but think about the single mothers that you know who had babies outside of wedlock. Did any of them before they had that baby said, man, Tim, I'm trying right now? or even as a producer, all the single mothers that you know that had a child that's not married, was it because they were trying or because it happened? Because you
even I would say that even when you're married, boss, most of the time, most marriages, you're not planning to have the baby when they have it.
I plan both of mine.
You plan both of your baby?
Yes.
Wow. I'm happy for you.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, but that statistic is rare though.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I agree. When I don't think you hold the marriage first. So most times in relationship, you have men and women, they start sleeping with each other and having sex to where you gotta, okay, I'm just gonna put it out there, boom, boom, boom. Y'all take it how it is. When you first hollering at a girl and you rocking with her, you using a condom. Like if I see it, if I'm just meeting her and we still just started rocking, using a condom. But if I'm starting sleeping over your house every night and we together every night and we having sex every other night, bro, you ain't got time to go put on no condom. You gonna pull out. You know what I'm saying? you gonna be like, man, we together, we love each other like that. The priority of not getting pregnant is not there no more because you're comfortable with that person. Oftentimes when you do wear a condom, it's because you like, man, I don't know what they got. I don't want to catch nothing. You ain't thinking for the baby first. It's disease, and then another part of it too. I think women, and it might be again, I don't know, something you might have to check. Most women, African American women, have a negative response to birth control. You know, they have to give up weight. They giving up weight. It does stuff to them, so they don't want to do it. It's a lot of work, and as well. Before, when they used to have to pop the pill every month, it was like you forget. Like, so I don't think it's. I'm pretty sure it's 1% lean to one way or why it happens more, but I think it's a variety of a lot of things that put people in a position to where they have kids out of wedlock. And I for me, I think it's more so once they get comfortable with the person and they being with them and being around them, they love them, they start falling in love. That the marriage is not the biggest thing, because what's more important in a marriage? You having kids, being fruitful, being reproducing with that person. That's more. You feel more. You feel more love, or you relate more to it than marriage itself. And then on top of that, some people can't afford to get married. Some people don't want. So I don't think the priority on marriage falls behind the waist. I mean, in a relationship, it falls behind than anything else.
So you think the young people just saying, I want a jet, but I don't want all the hard work that comes with a jet. Like, I don't want to be married. So basically, what the guy is saying is, I will have a baby, but I don't want to be tied down to
The person.
Yeah. And I also think now, when you're looking at how things have progressed throughout the year, young people see that a lot of marriage is not working. Right? They see that people have been together 15, 20 years, and all of a sudden they break up, and it's like, do I want to go through that? You understand what I'm saying? So now they're saying, let me do a trial basis. Let me date this person. Let me go with this person. And yes, like you said, sometimes that happen. They have, they might get pregnant within that time. We live together, all this other stuff, because it's not true commitment, but you're trying it out to see if it's that point. So I think when a lot of them lose that piece because they said, I want to try this stuff first before I make that effort to actually get married, right, on that part. So,
and I think too, you oftentimes when you hear these stories about, they'll be like, oh man, I've been married 20 years, 25 years. Then they proceed to tell you, oh, he cheated on me, he hit me, she did this, they did that. Then it's like, man, I don't want to have to go through that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to. Like, you don't value the struggle anymore, because they like, why would I have to struggle if I can just choose myself over the marriage?
Yeah, and I remember seeing it and this is another question I'm gonna ask y'all. I remember seeing a Facebook status along those same lines that said that most married people are unhappy. In your experience, again, from the married couples that you know, what would you say the ratio of them appearing to be happy on the outside looking in is? Do you know of any unhappy relationships? Do you think it's more like 60%, 70% look happy?
I think if they are unhappy, they're doing a great job of not showing it. Because even when I talk to a couple of them, they happy, they do this. Some things concern them. Like, they like, man, this lady checking me. This lady got a problem. I can't go this way. I can't do this. So that's the stressing part about it, is that they think this woman is too much when it comes to that part. I wouldn't say controlling, but just aggravating at some time, right? Just those little things. But
you can use the word nagging.
Yeah, okay. We'll say they nagging too much. This, and that. But at the end of the day, they go back and say, "But I love her," right? But I think that's what it is. Now, when you hear that, you're talking to the wrong person. Let's just say you saying that to somebody who's not married, and they hear that, it's like, do I really want to go through this?
Right.
Do I really want to come home and she nag me and this and that and over? You understand what I'm saying? So it's
and I think it's a level. What do you call happy? Like, if you trying to tell me out of 365 days, I had 50 days that I was pissed or I wasn't happy. You see what I'm saying? Like, or if you had say 300 days where it was, I was mad that day, but it was nothing major compared to somebody had 10 days of getting beat or No,
Just to keep going back, but
Nah, 'cause
I agree what you said.
because I'm just
People
saying,
using
if-
that example.
No, I'm using abuse, and I don't mean just physical abuse, but mentally, verbal, and financial. All the other. I took a class, a training for. We had a little summit for my job, and I took a little training for abuse, and they just kind of breaking down some of the different forms of abuse, and I feel more so. I know society tell you to focus more on cheating, but I think abuse is the worst thing you could do, and I think it varies based on what the abuse is, right? So that's why I keep using that to the stream, because in that year, like in during that time frame, was majority of your time hard, or it was just something, it wasn't what you expected? Was it really that bad you had to get out, or you realized you wasn't happy enough, or you feel, because sometimes some people feel like I'm 75% happy, but I would prefer to be 90. You get what I'm saying? That's something too. Like because when you choose yourself, or you want to be happy, or you feel like, hey, I'd rather be 90% happy than 70. So I think it varies. I think it varies on what happy looks like to you and why you leaving. Because it's gonna be some, no matter what. Even when you single, I'm pretty sure when you single, there's some days you wish you had somebody that you can love and do so forth, and there's some days you like, man, boy, I'm happy I'm single. I think it's just what percentage of it that you can deal with or you can tolerate.
Yeah. So I guess the last thing, because the question is it still relevant? Why do y'all think that marriage is important to the Black community?
So I'm just gonna start. I think for me, the reason why marriage is important is because it's family, right? You have the ability to keep a family together.
And pause. And the reason why it's important coming from y'all too, because y'all both work with children, and I'm pretty sure y'all speak to the parents or their guardians or their household, right? So y'all get the different type of children in a different type of households, right? So I'm assuming y'all see the ill effects of a should I not say broken home?
That's what they call it.
From
Sometimes they call it
a single parent home.
single parent home.
To both parent home.
Yeah, to a 2-parent home. So go ahead.
So yeah, like I was saying, I think marriage is important, one, because it sets boundaries around your values, right? It's showing that you're willing to be married and committed to someone. It shows your kids, it shows the people around you that you committed to repairing the harm that the single family homes have been doing to our generations, and as well.
Yeah, but that's not why people get married. They don't give a damn.
No. You said to me, I don't say that's why people get married. That wasn't the question. The question wasn't why people get married. You said why do I think it's important to get married. And I'm telling you, the importance of it is, I think more than anything than love, because you can love somebody without being married. But when you commit, when that paper come and you sign that paper and showing that you committed, right? It gives a mindset that you're letting people know that this is what I'm responsible for. I'm taking care of my responsibility. I'm gonna do everything, because you basically saying when you married and this paper, you're saying I'm gonna do everything to make sure that person is fine. I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna commit to them. When I have kids, I'm gonna take care of my kids. My responsibility. You're doing a paper to stating that, right? Whereas if you just dating each other or you single, you know in back of your head, you know you can walk away. You know you can leave. You know you don't have to commit to it. Whereas with writing on papers, you can. So I think that's why marriage is important. Why you get married is different, because I think everybody get married for their own different reason. But I think showing marriage is important, more so that it shows a commitment, and as well, I really believe in union to where God wants you to have that union, faith, sin, and so forth.
Okay.
So why is marriage important? Why I believe it's important. To go back to saying before, it's one of the family atmosphere. I believe you want that know-how that you have somebody who's going to be with you from day one, right? You have your back, complete you, do all the things that you want to do. And I do believe that we was not put on this earth to be by ourselves.
But y'all skipping. You answered it partially, 25%. Black love. Is it still? Is it like?
No,
I'm
gonna just tell you this right, because I work with young people, and I've seen it on both sides, extreme, right? Single mothers, children are great, no problems. They come in, they excel in their A's, all this other stuff, because those children see how much that single mom was pushing in them. Then I've seen the possible they have some single parents, and they like, Mr. Tim, I can't. You need to help me with this person. Then I got the marriage people. Married couple, like, we do everything for him, all this other stuff. He great kid, whatnot. Then it's on the other side, the same mom and dad is there to help, married, still stay at home, and the kids still give problems. So it's tossing in the air. So when you say black marriage itself, it's important because you want to see, like you said before, you want to see that it can happen, that we're staying together, that we're here to protect the family image.
Yeah, but I don't think marriage can stop a bad kid, but it can help the amount of support that a bad kid can get.
No, I don't. It's not at all.
But I don't mean that marriage stopping. What I'm just saying is, society is built on image and what we perceive, right? So they'll tell you that men are not in they black men are not in their kids' lives, but we go to a park and see a bunch of dudes out there getting on our nerves because they trying to make sure they son good, right? But the perception is, they'll tell you that it's not. So what I'm saying is, if you have more examples of black marriages being successful, having hard times, good times, or going through it, you're more likely to reestablish that in the black community, to have a commitment to each other. It's not so much the marriage, but the commitment is what I'm saying. Because when you do that paper, the reason why they don't want to put it on paper, because it's harder. It's a commitment now. Whereas if we single and I break up and leave, I can walk away from it. So I think that's part of it, of showing that I am committed. You showing that child that I'm committed to you. You showing a child looking from the outside in. Oh man, he's married. He's committed to it. I want to be the same way. When you be an example, when you coaching the kids and they seeing you with your wife, they seeing TJ come up to you saying daddy, and you doing all this, and they seeing that example. So now, when they get older, they're gonna be like, I remember when Coach T was his wife used to come out there and TJ used to be out here. Now they have a perception of what family looks like, so it can be successful. So we can get in these marriages, and you're not looking like, damn, I don't know what to do. But you can just go back and say, I remember Coach T used to do this, even if it's not everything that it's want to be, but they still have an idea of what it looks like.
But I just to go back to why it's important, think about how much emphasis it was put on TV back then. Look at all the black families that was back then, and think about the marriage that they had. Stable, right? Loving.
That we grew up on.
Think about it.
Grew up to not be married.
But that's what I'm saying. But they're trying, because even back then, the percentage of divorce was high as well. But we, as a black community, was trying to say, let's not focus on that. Let's show the positive point of being married. You understand what I'm saying? When you think about it, even shows now are gradually trying to get back to that again, because they know it's a higher percentage. So that's what we, other us, need to continue showing, that it is good. And I think about one of the shows I love now is called Black Love, and they talk about it comes on OWN or something like that, and it talks about
that's the Tubi show.
No, it's a trial and it talks about the trials and tribulations of a black couple's had by going together, and they talk about different instances and different circumstances through the process. And that's why it's important to show, because it's important to get back to it again, to show black love, to have black marriages and stuff along those lines. And I think that's important for us to do, because we need to show it that we can do it. That is, there's no one set way of doing it, but we need to show a positive aspect on why it's important to have black marriages.
Okay. All right. I mean, I agree with both of y'all. To me, in my eyes, in my purview, I think that the reason why black love is important in the black community is we gotta look at the things that's plaguing our black community, right? And let's be real, people, crime, right? It's happening. You get what I'm saying? Education, it's happening. That's an issue in the black community. And in my eyes, my view, I think, although it's not a 100% effective problem, I think having a 2-parent household and a support system can help decrease some of those things, because some of those things develop at the adolescent level, when you're a young teenager, young adult.
It usually start from like 5 years old and stuff like that.
Like that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like angry young black man who probably's, and I'm using as an example, not saying this is always the case, but a single parent mother who might, or a single parent who might get frustrated with their kid, right? A single parent might get frustrated with their kid and not be able to be with them all the time, whether it's a single father, single mother, and that single person can't provide them all the emotional support, educational support, take them to all the things that they see their friends getting, or be at all the things that they're getting because they're probably working, or they're probably with another family that's not their own, and they probably feel displaced, and they probably put that anger somewhere else. So I think having a two-parent household to where one person, if I can't do this, the person who's connected to me also is doing it, is very much different than co-parenting. You get what I'm saying? And it'll help that person be able to perform in a society a little bit better. So that's why I think that marriage is so important. No matter if it's, I don't care what type of marriage it is, I'm gonna be real. Even if it's, male, mom, who cares? I mean, I'm serious. I'm being real. Like, I mean, I know our Christianity view says it shouldn't be, but whatever the case may be, but it doesn't matter. As long as you have a two-person support system, you get what I'm saying? You're gonna have to do a lot of explaining because that person's gonna feel real different. I'm being real. Excuse me, they're gonna feel a little bit different. But to me, the reason why it is like that, so that it can attack some of the things that's been plaguing our community for so long, because so many people don't have support. And I know y'all see that working with kids all the time.
Yeah, I'd be true, but I just want to say real quick, happy Valentine's Day, Gina, and all the people that could be selling out there.
Oh, you such a
damn, dog.
did that.
Like, damn. So now we all got to say
I would
Valentine's Day.
I would put it up.
Happy Valentine's Day, man.
Happy Valentine's Day, Gina.
Happy Valentine's Day cake. Also, happy birthday, mommy. Oh,
yeah. Oh, that is true.
You ain't thank you.
Yeah, that is. Happy birthday, happy birthday, mother. I think black marriage is important. I mean, it's. I think we need to start focusing on the positive part. It do influence our kids. It do have a positive impact on it. A healthy black marriage, and put it that way, a healthy black marriage. Not those who are just standing and going through it just to stay with each other. But I think it's a good thing. We as a community have to start putting a light on that again, to start showing it. We need more of those positive shows like the Cosby Show, right? We need more like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I mean? I mean, not the new one, but just the old version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So to show the light of lightheartedness, that you can be a tough parent, but still love them and show them in a good way. So we need that, right? Those examples, good times, those examples. So we need those examples in everyday lives, and I think it's important. So that show, I would love for y'all to continue watching that show called Black Love. It talks about why it's important to love each other, why it's important that they went through, and on that aspect. But once again, I think that's how it is. I believe it's important to show the positive image of what black marriages is about.
Okay. So again, I want to just wrap it up. Thank everybody for listening. I hope it was helpful. Those who are in a relationship or thinking about it, if happy or not, just making sure you do what's best for yourself. And again, thank you for the support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. We're trying to do our best. If you do have any feedback for us, let us know, and we'll do our best to kind of adjust to it if it falls within our values of what we're trying to put out there. All right. So it's your boy Dean.
Tim.
It's around
Another episode of the Dean Office. Yo.
Yo.